Welcome to the Human First Executive Show. I'm your trusted host, Rob Kalwarowsky, and as always, I'm joined with a special guest. We have the founder of Triibe, Kyle Matthys, is with us. Kyle, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks, Rob.
It's great to have you, Kyle. Now, okay, for folks out there, so Triibe, TRIIBE.us is the website, and they're a foundation that is designed to support next-gen nonprofit founders. So before we get into you, Kyle, tell us a little bit about Triibe and where folks can support.
Absolutely. I would say firstly, with celebration, we did just obtain the domain triibe.org. So TRIIBE.org managed to get the official status and our trademarks on the way. So like you said, we fund next-gen nonprofit founders. There's actually a structural break when people enter college and they're looking to continue their work, but they're still a full-time student. So unlike the 4 or 5 dozen organizations that give the funding and help them start the wheels to continue and explore going full-time, that's where we step in, right? Providing that funding, mentorship, and community. We are available online at our website links to our events, our social media channels. We've got our podcasts, so you can listen on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever you see fit.
Amazing. Now, Kyle, what led you to founding Triibe, and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah. Quick backstory, not really from the philanthropy space. I used to work in offshore wind energy and had a children's book and blog. Then it was thermoelectric cooling systems, alternative battery chemistries, and I was working with a company called Lighten then for almost 2 years in more space tech, right? We were coding spy satellites and putting new batteries on the ISS, and I got patents in sensor technology and would skip finals and work in Dubai, and all the while was a professional poker player. So I would actually say I was a little selfish, and I was rounded out by a best friend who Chunder, always shout out. He built urban farms for homeless shelters, food drives, and schools. And he's the amazing National Geographic scholar, global teen leader, a Changemaker Brand Prize winner, Riley's Way Fellow, the list goes on. He was my changemaker. And we got to the end of college, right? And whereas I was all set to go and continue, right, he had to shut down his foundation. And so what we understood is it's not the ones that really made their organization to get into college. It's in reality those that are persisting and trying to scale. Those are the ones that are really burning out because that support disappears. And so full pivot, right, to create an organization. And there's that joke that people make organizations based on their insecurities. So naming it Triibe, namely so, might depict mine, but there is a lot. I mean, I sleep less, but I sleep better knowing that I'm working on a solution that would have helped him continue to be that credibility, that visibility engine for the the Forbes 30 under 30s, the George Bush Points of Light scores, like the big ones that manage 10 or 40,000 volunteers, that are Time Magazine's first student of the year, that send healthcare supplies to the Philippines or computers back to Haiti to teach computer science and other languages. Like those foundations, those are the ones that we can support for 3 years and help them actually continue to make good impact on the world.
And so Kyle, can you tell us a little bit about that gap, right? Like you mentioned, there's funding and grants available for folks in high school, and then it usually stops through college and then starts again afterwards. Like, where does Triibe fill that gap?
Right. I think the first thing to be cognizant of is time. And regardless of, I believe in simplest terms, we have our own internal clock, right? Staying mindful, sleeping well, then our heartbeat moves slower and our blood is different. Our blood flow is different. And so we perceive time differently. That's how some people are able to do more in the same 168 hours of the week. But from high school to college, that time does shrink significantly. And you're isolated from the community that you started an organization with. Quite honestly, no matter how big and successful you are, how incredible, if you're under 18, you had to start it with an adult. They had to file the bank account. And so there's that supportive community that's with you and helping you and your peers, especially when you go large. So when you go off to college and now everybody around you is new, you're in a new home, you're trying to figure out what social life looks like, whether it was with COVID or not, like it hit for me, there is that transition. And if you still decide that the foundation that you work on is something that's core and ingrained in your life, that it wasn't for a college resume, but actually to return greatness to the world, then we'll step in sophomore year. So our investment thesis perhaps is that those that continue through freshman year with that huge transition are those that actually are prioritizing impact over income and deserve the support, their weekends, our early mornings, our nights to help them continue.
And can you share with us some of the maybe an impactful story of a founder that you supported who's gone on to create some impact?
Yeah. I mean, let's be clear though. On average, they run their foundations for 6 years before they get to us. We're not helping the ones that started senior year of high school. On average, they started in middle school, right? One even when she was 10 years old and is on year 10 now. How cool. So,
That's an overachiever.
oh my goodness, are they inspiring? Like when I'm feeling burnt out or tired, I think the reason that I want to share this is because I know it works. I go and look at their websites. I go and look at the work they're doing. And I see not only what they've done, but the potential. I heard this talk where someone said there was, IQ and then there's EQ. And they introduced the idea of VQ, a venture quotient, which is not the understanding of someone's current IQ and EQ, but the understanding of where it could go and the ability to help them get there. That's VQ. So I want to be in that stage. You asked for an example, like spinning a random wheel. Okay, one that I really like. So Anne-Sophie moved to the US in 2019. Anne-Sophie Frederick, the founder of Hey Tech Learning, to start learning English. And we meet, of course, she's a sophomore in college now. And she now knows 9 languages. And she was working to send computers back to Haiti, where she was from, to teach computer science to those who don't know English or live in a first world country. And whereas you may think, okay, that's sweet, that's wonderful, like sending computers. No, this is like large scale computers with teachers there that are teaching courses that are to dozens of people at a time. And she rotates multiple horses at once so that they can all have their own independent computer, because the access to technology and learning is what's changing generational wage gaps. It's changing their opportunities. It's helping them drive forward. And then their graduates, their cohorts, alumni are coming back and helping. I mean, she's single-handedly rebuilding a entire community. And I don't think she realizes what impact that means, even if it shuts down now. If we look at what that's going to do for 10 years, because she's believing in the individual potentials, right, that's going to make a lot of difference. Now there's a couple hundred people already trained and graduated and more coming through at an increasing rate that are all in a local area and know how to use computers, not just for like online design, but I mean, this is a woman who's doing internships with Amazon and is like kick-ass, top of the line, and realizes I don't want to be a back-end software engineer or just a software engineer. I want to use this to create. Yeah, that will never cease to inspire me. And of course, she's well outspoken and a compassionate leader. I think it's important to recognize that if you're bringing 4 founders like this together, the first cohort was 4 and the second is now 5, and you're expanding. So we have members in 25 countries and these other global branches getting set up now. And we're still on month 14. So give us some time. There's only 65 of us now working inside. So if we look at what she's doing, it's not only the fact that she has her mission, it's the fact that when all the missions come together, she appreciates them so much. And she becomes this type of glue. They all do in their own unique ways. They're encouraging and supporting those that are also working on their independent goals. So most inspiring to me is not what one individual is doing. To simplify, most inspiring to me is that I can focus on my niche, knowing that they're all focusing on theirs.
That's the power of community and belonging. And then also, like what you mentioned, is nobody truly understands themselves. And that's part of what leadership is being able to reflect back to folks who they truly are.
Reflecting back on individuals for who they truly are. Yeah. I mean, even our podcast, we have a podcast too. I love it. And we alternate between current and next gen changemakers to demonstrate that age doesn't impact the quality of one's work. And so you'll hear from these incredible, the executive director of Read Alliance, managing directors for the Chanel Foundation, the founder of Raise, like Carl Nassib, and then you'll hear from our cohorts. And if you listen to them back to back, especially because we asked them not to immediately introduce their age, so there's a little hint of surprise. Surprise! She's worked on her foundation 6 years, but she's still in college. Then you realize, oh my goodness, like they're on the same, journey, just at two different stages. And you can literally visualize where they're going. regardless of whether it's their foundation. I mean, the tools and skills that they're learning are going to go with them wherever they go.
Yeah, that's one thing where it is people are very similar. As much as different as we are, we're very similar. And when you start to think about the world in systems and patterns, you start to see where folks are on their journey. And I mean, that's what I do for a living. So, so it's very much a repeatable process. I mean, obviously there's differences, but it's very much a repeatable process.
Right. Well, I'm inspired to learn just because we maintain our growth mindset. So do they. The better that we can understand this process, the better we can create the ecosystem and the infrastructure. Next gen for next gen. Right? That's the foundation that we're trying to set up. Trying is the wrong word. That's the foundation that has been set up. A foundation that they can relate to because we're working on the problems just like them and we're not resting on our laurels. And when we turn 30, we step away. So it's always led by next gen for next gen. It's an ecosystem. It's a loop. So you get into this stage, you reach and you go, oh, this is the foundation for the future. Like this is the huge stamp of approval. And now larger scale donors and others can say, we did the due diligence. We did the vetting. We did the research. We didn't just accept the one who won the biggest award or had the most followers on a social media account. We accepted the ones who, like, we saw where they were going. And through our, like, if you track what they were when we accepted them, they were already huge. But we have noticed significant increases in not only the surveys we sent internally of like, how do you feel? Do you feel connected? Do you feel burnt out? But also externally in how much visibility they've gotten, how much they've scaled their platforms.
How you mentioned when you're 30, you're going to step back.
Yeah.
What does from now until 30 look like for you?
All right. Well, I just turned 24. Woohoo. Like what? Like less than a week ago. I mean, what a privilege to build something that, I mean, the whole concept of a nonprofit or a foundation, to eliminate that word nonprofit. What a privilege to build something that you know you have no equity in. You cannot extract from later, and you cannot tie your salary to revenue. So it's not like you had a great year, you do more. It's like you're fixed and locked in, and they know that, and you know that. And then to build something that you are certain of leaving. I mean, that means that I have to wake up and go to sleep with the conviction, which isn't that hard to have already, that the future is going to step on our shoulders and do greater things and be better. And I want to be a stepping stone. I want to help people find their way and give new opportunities to things that I think are deserving. This is not the people who do instruments, get into college and are like, well, I led my class, and then their parents are like, you can't do this as a career. And they go, okay, I understand. Even if you're an incredible musician, there's a lot of times that happens. And for those that do want to go, I mean, my brother's a musician and I freaking love it. And it's awesome. Talk about like a trendsetter. Talk about someone who says you can do anything, like follow your dreams. I mean, that has been a huge inspiration for me. So it's not to say that it's not possible, but I think that we need to reconsider for those that are entering college and already have a full-scale organization and 20,000 volunteers under their belt, or have a full-scale organization and have spoken to crowds of over 25,000 people at a time, those people should probably continue doing what they're doing.
What do you want to continue doing?
Oh, my brand? Well, as a joke, right? I want to have the brand or identity of funding the future. And so there's this project which is funding nonprofit founders, right? The Y Combinator of nonprofits or foundations or humanitarian causes, whatever you want to call it. And then there is, simultaneously to this, building out the alumni community for entrepreneurs from my college, Middlebury. And now we're working with the new president and the CFO and board of trustee members to build a fund that invests in recent graduates, to say, listen, the whole liberal arts model was built to question and learn how to use a tool belt. And now this new tool has come out, this new technology that we all know of. And it's a question of how do we utilize it? How do we partner with it? How do we create with it? And so as more students and youth are becoming entrepreneurial, because the barrier to entry just disappeared, I want to be investing in that future, right? That can be the future. That's okay. So whether it is the core to my heart, Triibe, right? The foundation that funds next-gen nonprofit founders, or these VCs that fund next-gen founders of my college or a local community or things of that nature. I mean, that's what I want to be known for. I want to be a capital lever that can turn funding away from more parochial systems that might have too much overhead and lean them into systems where they are maximizing new opportunities and trying to go as fast as possible. I think the pace is only quickening. I'm concerned because that leads to burnout and stress. And I don't want to get into an argument on what burnout really means. If you're listening to this and you've experienced large-scale burnout that affected you for years, I'm sorry. And I totally understand that I will never understand that. But at least based on our scales, can know what burnout is. We just don't know how far it can continue going. And so I just want to ensure that if people are going to put all their time and effort into a dream and hope, then at least the ones that are dedicated and driven and exercising 6 days a week like our founders are, they've got better ethics than I do. It's really like trying to live up to them. And they're younger. They're my mentors and they're younger than me. Who cares? I want to make sure that they can continue and have that platform where they're not extracted from by older generations, but actually working with their peers.
Kyle, what do you look for in founders when you're deciding whether you want to work with them or not?
I think this is where I'm very grateful for the experience of poker and Sudoku and these puzzles. I follow Ray Dalio's advice that you don't work with someone for the job or for the project. You work with someone you want to spend your life with. So I am looking and getting to know people. I'm trusting my gut, and a science and business class would say that you immediately sync up your mirror neurons. You look into their eyes look into yours, they start firing, and you check up. And that's like immediate. It's like what, 10 milliseconds, like super fast. So you'll trust your initial reaction. And then the hard part is believing it, because you'll get people that you're like, you're so great, but my initial reaction was put off. Like, what do I do here? Is this just a show? Like, do I have to believe that it's all just a show? Or otherwise, your initial reaction is amazing, but then you get to know them and they're struggling falling over their words, or they're struggling to express what they care about. I mean, I want to just believe in the gut call, right? The all in, this works. When you believe in someone's smile and energy, then it works out. So in simplest terms, I look to respect the effort it took someone to get here, but also I look to support people who it's not just a project to IPO, which is, I think, the traditional norm and is literally impossible for nonprofits. There's no IPO.
There's no IPO.
So I mean, even to go into the for-profit sector, I'm not looking for people who are just trying to build something to IPO. I'm not looking for someone who's like, only interest is profit or profit maximization. I want someone who is addicted to the vision or reality with their solution in it, because they know how much it's affected them, and so they want to pull it forward.
Kyle, you mentioned the acceleration of everything. And like, I think what we've seen, at least in the last little while, is there's been significant political shifts. There's been significant technological shifts. There's been significant economic shifts. And for a lot of us, it feels like there's a lot of chaos going on in the world. Like, right. Where do you see the opportunity for folks out there?
What's the word? I think it's a problem and opportunity in Chinese are the same word. It's something like that. And I apologize that I'm not right on the mark for that. But there is so much upheaval right now. I mean, so coming from someone working in sustainability, I went to a panel of legal counsels that we put on, the Sustainable Investment Communities of New York. And it was great. Got to meet the panelists and sit down. And that exact day was the day that huge climate finding from 2009 was repealed. That said that greenhouse gases are not, that the original finding that greenhouse gases are harmful to human health and life and well-being. And so to repeal that means like an upheaval of the foundation of a movement. For working in the philanthropic sector, for U.S. aid to disappear means not only has soft power shifted in the U.S., regardless of the scale that you would like to argue for, but also that the funding opportunities are less, that people are tightening their purses. And we're seeing that across the board. Last year was a record low in funding opportunities, and we ourselves don't look to the government. So when I look to opportunity in this landscape, I refuse to acknowledge the idea that the foam always rises. Foam can only rise when there's a container that helps it. And so if we're saying the foam always rises, but we've gotten rid of the container, there's a lot more challenges. I also want to recognize that this is a global problem. We are next gen first and foremost before we are bound by our regional or geographic, our cultural backgrounds. it's a privilege that we get to have even these phone calls and Zooms and conversations through different boundaries with quality now. Whereas as a child on like a relationship, right, you're having your phone call or your FaceTime and it's all like glitchy and it doesn't work too well, but you just get through it. So right now, I think
For folks out there who didn't have FaceTime when you were a kid,
okay,
it's
well,
next gen. Next gen.
imagine, imagine, I imagine what it means to be long distance in any relationship, a partnership or a relationship. And I think, whereas in the past, that meant a lack of communication, I mean, extreme trouble. Right now, the barrier to communicate is gone. And so if we look at political upheaval from just the lens of one community, we are going to be distracted from opportunities that are being built elsewhere. We just created a partnership with we've got a few publishing companies that we've just partnered with. One in the US, one in Europe, like ESG News, Aluminum. And then we have one that's actually run by this incredible young leader that we just signed in Vietnam. And they have like a couple hundred writers. And I'm just like, no way are we able to create these relationships and spread our work across the globe. So yes, we'll have some upheaval and shifts in places of power, but nobody young is truly in a place of power. And so for us, it's just we're coming, we're growing, we're developing. You'll hit that wall and you'll be frustrated and cognizant that you just have to be there, ready to go for decades before you're finally given the opportunity to make some serious change. But in the meantime, do what you can in your ecosystem, in your community. And if you're focusing on that, like Neuralens, what can I do today? What can I do in my rare present moment? Then things are changing.
What's your biggest goal at the moment?
My biggest goal? Okay. I like to split myself into 4 goals. I think it's important for me to envision goals in 4 categories. There is social, there is personal, there is familial, and then there is corporate, like a career. And so a career goal would be to scale this foundation and project. Sure, great, whatever. We're doing good work. I wouldn't argue that that's like my goal. It's just my enjoyment in the present moment. I'm addicted to spending time on it. My personal goal is health and running a marathon later or stuff like that. That's great. My familial goal, I was just at my sister's wedding. That was wonderful. And to spend time doing that was such a privilege. I mean, that is where my time needs to be. And then there is like communal with friends. I want to build that ecosystem out. But if I had to pick one goal that I'm most excited for right now, quite honestly, I sort jelly beans as a way to like take a break and turn it into art. And the Jelly Bean Factory is in New York. And I've been thinking about this and haven't just pulled the trigger to go. And instead of buying just like the Kirkland Costco big jars and sorting it, I just want to get black and white jelly beans and create just like I painted this like 3x3 foot picture of Triibe's logo and had like the cohort members sign the top and the people working sign the bottom, and it'll grow into this beautiful tree. But I want to make that out of jelly beans. So that is my goal. Not to just do that, but to finish my responsibilities and have enough time to use that as my break. That's, I think, my goal for the next month.
Well, you mentioned the blizzard, so there's no time better than the present.
Yeah, unfortunately on mine, I'm kind of trapped outside of the city because of the blizzard and hoping to get back as soon as possible. I think I've got a red eye on Wednesday, but you're right. It does lead more time. The only difference is like most of my work, if not all, is online. And so regardless of where I am or what I'm doing, I can get things done. I can create the future I want to see.
For folks out there, how can they support your work and help you on your journey?
Yeah. Reach out. Totally. Triibe with 2 I's, because it's not for one individual.org. I would encourage them to explore whether if they're young, then look to get involved. We've got 8 independent teams that run, which is amazing, that have meetings independent of myself, but I try to join as much as I can. Then there is our like partnerships. If you are a media group, we have 3 pillars, right? Visibility, stability, and credibility. So if you think that you can help us with visibility, please reach out. We'd always love to go on more podcasts, share the work that we're doing, grow our reach. In terms of credibility, if you have a brand or logo that you want to attach to our work, please reach out. I know it's a privilege to choose where your funding is from, and so we want to exercise that right with as much gratitude as possible. And then the stability part. Certainly we are a organization that's looking for new partners and sponsors. And so If you feel like this resonates with the work you're trying to do, we accept all kinds of ticket sizes from small scale to larger ones where we can partner and do bigger works to show and appreciate the visibility that you want for your work.
Amazing, folks. I've dropped Kyle's LinkedIn in the podcast notes. You can also check out triibe.us or .org. Both of those websites will work. And yeah, Kyle, thanks for joining us on the show this week.
My pleasure, Rob. No, thank you so much for having me and giving your time to support this movement as well.
Everybody out there, find Triibe online and shoot them a donation. And thanks for listening. And we'll see you all next week.